Next, Andrew Weissman, 47-year-old. That's how he describes himself, as just a 47-year-old. Not anything else. He's a San Antonio native, a chef who graduated from the Culinary Institute of America, the CIA, in Hyde Park, worked in France and New York City before finding himself back in his hometown, where he introduced world-class cuisine with the opening of Le Rêve back in 2001. I can say them words. Le Rêve, with critical acclaim from the New York Times, Gourmet, and 4 James Beard nominations. His local restaurants include the Sandbar Fish House and Market, Osteria Il Sogno, the Luxury Sip Coffee and Espresso Bar, and Big's Burger Joint. He's a proud father of 3, an avid runner and cyclist. Please give it up for the 47-year-old Andrew Weissman!
Randy, when you said, speaking of assholes, I thought you were going to segue into calling me out. I appreciate that. I got to say before I start how much I love this town. This is amazing. The kind of things that take place here. I've always been of the school of thought that this is an incredible place to live. It's just showcased every day with things like this. I thank PechaKucha for having me here tonight. Thank you. The last time I appeared on the stage, I was actually in gold sequined hot pants and not much else. It was for Corneation. And so I want to thank Corneation and for that honor. It took Vicky about 3 months to convince me to partake in PechaKucha, not because I didn't want to do it, but due to my overwhelming fear of speaking in front of large groups. I also felt that I did not have much to say or to pass on to you. The reason I finally agreed was that it has been a long-held belief of mine that personal growth only occurs through struggle. It's a lesson that I learned 17 years ago with the opening of my first restaurant. I often remind myself that we're only given a finite number of breaths in this life, coming into it on an in-breath and going out on an out-breath. What we choose to do with the ones in between is up to each one of us. I want my breaths to count, so here I am tonight. I want to speak about some of the other beliefs that I try to use as a sort of life map or doctrine, if you will, in an effort to make for a more fulfilling and memorable existence. Some are quite obvious, others maybe not so much. Some I've just realized over the last couple of years, some I've carried with me for decades. So let's get started. Let me see if I can find the space bar. There we go. 1, we're all going to die eventually. Yes, it's the only thing that we can count on without fail. I accept and acknowledge this fact, but try to benefit from it by allowing it to give me direction. This reality has served me well and has informed all other lessons and decisions I have made and will continue to make. That's not my foot, actually, so I trim my nails. 2, all that matters are the relationships that we create with those we love. Life is a series of relationships, good and bad, that bring out the best and sometimes the worst in us. At the end, though, it is truly only about relationships and how we impacted someone else's life or someone improved ours. This is a ketubah, Jewish marriage contract between myself and my wife. 3, I am truly blessed. The loves of my life, that's plural, are my wife and children and extended family. They are the reason for my existence and moreover the reason I want to be a better person. Sometimes I fall short as a husband, father, and son, but more often than not, I do pretty well. Nevertheless, I always try like hell for success, but realize the attempt is also part of the journey. 4, lead a life that matters. Be memorable. This can be achieved in so many ways. As most of us have seen, sometimes just being a little kinder, showing a little more compassion and willingness to have, and having the fortitude and endurance to go the distance is all it takes to be exceptional. Most people aren't willing to commit, so excellence eludes them. 5, live in the moment. Be present. I'm guilty of always wanting to know what's next. Enjoy where you are today at this particular junction in time. It allows for so much more happiness in living in the future, worrying about things that may or may not happen. Exist in this moment. 6, where's 6? How many more seconds do we have here? Remember to forgive. Very little in life is as energizing and uplifting as forgiveness. Releasing that burden is transcendent. These are 2 guys. This is an example of my waitstaff who I find myself having to forgive more often than I would like to actually admit. 7, I have learned to reserve judgment of people based solely on rumor and innuendo. Make your own decision after personal interactions. Preconceived notions rarely, if ever, are accurate. That's a shot of the bathroom at the luxury. We're not proud of the whole situation that Beamer himself reported on, but what are you going to do? 8, life is like the philosophical web theory. You can't touch any part of the web without affecting the rest. Keep that in mind and tread lightly, as it will serve you well when deciding to do anything. All things, good and bad, reverberate through the web, sometimes with unexpected outcomes. 9, certain thoughts only exist if we let them. Like bad Yelp reviews or rumors of food stored in a bathroom. Recognize this as it comes in all forms. Things only take on value when we give them that power. These thoughts, although inevitable, can and should be given very little value. These slides are a little messed up, but we'll run with it. 10, don't underestimate the power of exercise, as it tends to give new perspective on life as well as create headspace for creativity. Exercise will not only transform the body, but more importantly, the mind. I have an appointment with these guys pretty much every morning over at the rock pile, over at Alamo Stadium, the stairs there. 11, there's always more to the picture than meets the eye. Our field of view is only a postcard of reality. We see this daily in the news and in conversation. Recognize this and always ask yourself, could something else be occurring right outside our field of view that would alter our perception of events? 12, spend on quality. It's never a bad thing. Quality in the long run tends to be more cost effective and saves time. Build this into every aspect of your life. It pays tremendous dividends. This image depicts a pair of shoes, expensive shoes, that I bought 12 years ago, but I still wear in the kitchen today. I look at guys who purchase shoes on a bi-monthly basis for the kitchen, and I've had these same pair of shoes, so it's quality. 13 is time. Take time for the small things in life. Treat yourself. For me, it's a simple ritual of grinding, tamping, pulling, and then drinking the perfect espresso shot. It allows me, if only for a moment, to escape from the demands of everyday life. 14, nothing is more beautiful than flawed beauty, whether in design or nature. I find that in my life, specifically in the kitchen, the common thread in nature is that naturally occurring flaws create the most evocative food and plate designs. 15, the necessity for balance in life, the give and take. Be mindful of this, for it exists everywhere. My favorite example of this is the common bamboo stick. Watch it as it bends. It overcomes the wind by yielding to it. If it were stiff, it would break because it is so brittle. But because it yields, it overcomes. Thus, weakness produces strength, and strength produces weakness. We see it everywhere in the world around us, such as the 11-11, which I take as a sign of balance. 16, the ability to acknowledge when you are wrong. The energy required for self-justification when we are wrong is not only an unpleasant feeling, but creates tension and stress. This is something I see a lot of in the restaurants, these broken plates and glasses. So that's why those two guys are up against the wall, ready for a cavity search. 17, learn to listen, really listen. More often than not, you can find common ground on any issue. We are all branches of the same tree. That's where that tree shot would have actually been effective. 18, don't be quick to anger. The one who guards himself from anger will not be ruled over by those who trouble him. Meaning, if we act on our immediate emotional reactions to situations, we are not really in control of ourselves. It's a belief in the Talmud. It's stated in the Talmud, actually. And then 19, attempt to do things with people who are better than you at said things. This image depicts me running with my running partner, who is 2 decades younger and eons faster. And so I appreciate his ability to put up with me and drag me along. I more look like I'm falling forward. He looks like he's actually running. So, 20, admitting you don't have all the answers. Being honest about this increases your credibility. It also increases your likelihood of getting good ideas from others. I just want to thank you again for having me here tonight and allowing me to speak. Thank you.
Great job. All right. What were you in Corny?
I was King Lancho.
He was King. Okay, I thought so. All right. I guess I didn't recognize him without the pants.
I saw you hanging out in the bathroom.
No. That's not what I meant. What I meant was, speaking of the bathroom, we did that story. How tough was that for you, just going through that? I'm not quoting you. I don't believe there's any media here except for Rivard. I meant that in a good way. Anyway.
I'm going to take up for Bob. You should, because that's the wave of the future, man.
Yeah, I know. So now, you didn't say anything there really about your process of coming up with food or cooking or passion for
Everybody
that.
kind of knows that story about me, so I wasn't comfortable repeating it again.
Okay, say if we don't.
All right.
All right, like, if we're old and like we forgot.
Right.
You always wanted to be a chef? You always wanted to cook?
I think it was a big part of who I was for as far back as I can remember. I didn't come to the realization until, I was in college and I realized that it was a direction I wanted to take.
And as you've seen the city grow around some of your restaurants, and people ask you, I know all the time, what's the next one going to be? Where is it going to be? Where do you come up with the ideas? What's in your head?
Well, I'm ecstatic about the fact that the city is growing. I mean, the Pearl Brewery, when I was the first full-service restaurant there, and to see that there's now, 10 restaurants and a myriad of shops and things is just incredible. My restaurant group has quite a few restaurants in the pipeline. We're going to do a bakery followed by a couple of other interesting things, a falafel shop and then a chicken-based concept.
And now, somebody just asked, is like tonight, if people go to a restaurant and say that they saw you here, is there like free food or anything?
My guys, in an attempt to build their tips, tend to give out a lot of free food anyway. So,
Are you tough on waiters? I was a waiter once, so it seems like you got it.
I've come a long way over the last couple of years. Not so much anymore.
All right. Well, thanks very much. Give it up for Andrew Weissman.